Oh my, look at this monstrosity. It's the Quest for Gear Fantasy. Well, this is called the L6AW. This piece of gear does not exist at all. I tried to get AI to make me an image called the Quest for Gear Fantasy 16. And I've been trying to design, my fantasy audio interface. Here's another picture it did. These pictures, AI is just not listening to me tonight, but the Fantasy 16. This in no way looks like what I wanted at all. So far, Gemini here has been, I'm using Google Gemini, which uses, the Imager 3 engine. Yeah, it's not been a good night of drawing pictures with AI here. It's trying. I like that logo. Quest, the Fantasy 16. So let me ask you, and I'm hoping you guys will let me know in the comments, what would your fantasy future audio interface look like? I kind of like the look of that. And what would it do? Now I'm going to give you my top 10 things in a second here. We're just going to look at some of these. Quest Fantasy 16. Hard to believe this doesn't exist, right? It looks like real gear. But I just had Gemini draw these for me. So let's go through my top 10. Number 1, USB-C. So I want my fantasy audio interface to be USB-C. And that's so that it's compatible with PC and Mac and your Android phone. Now the iPhone, geez, I don't even know where they're at anymore. Them dang iPhone people come up with another dang cable every 3 months. It's unreal. No one can keep up with the iPhone cabling. So I could not at this point tell you if there's a USB cable in the bottom of an iPhone. And I mean, I do IT stuff at work. We have maybe 3 or 4 iPhones across 7 companies. We're not a big iPhone company, but I could not tell you if it does USB-C or not. I'm not out of the iPhone world. But anyway, USB-C. That's my first bullet point. My second bullet point, it's got to be in a 19-inch rack. That's just my preference, boys and girls. If you don't think your audio interface needs to be in a 19-inch rack, well then, let's hear you design one, and maybe you just want the desktop unit, right? Look at this madness. AI keeps putting jacks on the side, as if like once that's in a rack, you could get into the side. It's kind of funny. Number 2, I want 10 XLR mic pre's and 6 line ins for a total of 16 ins, and I want 2 of them to be instrument high Z. I don't think that's too big of an ask, but basically I want this audio interface to be 16 ins. Okay. Bullet point number 4, I want it to be 8 line outs. The first 2, of course, would feed my monitors. The second 2 could feed other monitors. And then the other outputs could just keep, running outboard gear as I see fit. I don't think this is too big of an ask. As it is, Tascam already makes, the 16 by 8? They already make, I think it's called a 16 by 8. I would own one, but I hear the preamps aren't the greatest. I hear the preamps are a little dull in it, but this isn't too big of an ask. I mean, I call this my fantasy audio interface, but this is not too much to ask. Number 5, I want 2 headphone jacks. I want 2 because when I record someone, I like to be listening on this side of the table of what they're doing, and I like them to be able to listen to the rest of the song that they're overdubbing to, right? 2 headphone jacks on an interface like this is not too much of an ask. Number 6, I want no internal interface. What does that mean? I don't want to log into this thing. Never, never, ever do I want to log into this thing. All the stuff I have around here, the Focusrites and the Motu, Mark of the Unicorn stuff, and some of the old M-Audio stuff, you could log into it and jerk around. I don't want to log in and jerk around. I don't want to go in and route and set a routing matrix and set internal reverb and all that stuff. No, thank you. I want no internal interface. So you can save some money there, manufacturers. Don't give me no internal interface. I'm not doing no routing matrix. I'm trying to play a song. I'm not trying to trying to click a matrix with my mouse. Are you crazy? All right, number 7. I would like it to be compatible with Windows, Linux, Mac, Android, and the iPhone. I don't think that's too much of an ask. Universal Audio, looking at you, Universal Audio, because they'll make one that's only for Windows, and then they'll make one that's only for Mac, and I'm talking the Apollos and the satellites, right? And they'll make one that they'll lie and say it's for PC and Mac, and it won't work for PC, like just nonsense. And I can demonstrate that. I can put my comments where my mouth is and show you an Apollo Twin Heritage Edition, Twin X. I could show it to you working on a Mac and then having all kinds of problems on PC, right? So my fantasy interface should work for Windows, Linux, Mac, Android, and iPhone with no grief. Number 8, when not connected to a computer, preamps pass through, i.e. they can be used as preamps. So I think, is it Focusrite does this? I think Motu does this. A few of these do this, where when you're not, say 20 years down the road and your operating system has moved on and, we don't have USB or whatever, the device is still good later. The device is still good because you can just use it as a preamp, which is a beautiful thing. And I think that my audio fantasy interface would have that, is when it's not connected to a computer, the preamps just work as preamps. And I guess if I'm only giving it 8 line outs, as I said in bullet point number 4, well, I guess only 8 of the preamps would work that way. But that's fine. At least the piece of gear 100 years later will still be a preamp, Number 9. This is just my list, guys. You're probably not going to agree with this. You're probably going to want Clean. You're probably going to want Avalon or something. But on my fantasy audio interface, the pre's should have Neve or Trident, and I put Daking in brackets, color, or possibly API, So if someone were to make this fantasy thing that I'm talking about, if it was Neve or Trident or API, I would be cool with that. I don't really want clean preamps. Now, you guys might, because you might be playing different music than I am. I could see worship or a church wanting clean preamps. I could see somebody doing pop or like a Celine Dion thing, or I don't know, like who else is in pop right now? I'm not in the pop world. I could see some of you guys wanting clean, Avalon clean, right? Not me. I want Pink Floyd tube saturation, like I want 1970, Neve or Trident, or possibly I would also accept that punchy, American API. That's just my opinion. You guys create your own fantasy interface in the comments and tell me. All right. Number 10, I think this thing should come out at 1,600 Canadian or 1,100 US dollars, which is, roughly the equivalent. I think right now, today's exchange rate, it's like a 11.50 or something like that. That's the price point I think you could build this at and retail it for. It's a price point I'd be comfortable in paying if someone were to build this. If through inflation and tariffs and nonsense and, the reflection of the moon across the winds of Saturn and the price of Pluto, like geopolitical strife, if you had to juice it to 1,800 Canadian, I'd still be interested. If you push up into that $2,000 Canadian, I don't know. I'm going to probably look towards some SSL stuff maybe. And I don't know at that point. Do you start looking at some Apollos at that point? But I don't think the Apollos are obviously like DSP Shark processors as well. They process for now. It's the year 2025. How long is that Universal Audio Shark dongle stuff going to go on for? They're already, tossing most of their plugins into native. But, man, I got off topic. I forgot what I was saying. What I was saying is, this thing, on paper, My fantasy audio interface on paper, I think, rules most things. Okay. Like, your Motu's not going to give you all this. It's going to be lacking some stuff. And your Motu is probably going to cost you $2,000 Canadian. Also, you notice I didn't have no ADAT on here. No ADAT, no Dante, no other like networking system. You know why? So I don't want it. I don't want number 6, no internal interface. I don't want the nonsense. Just give me a 16 in. If you can't make a record with 16 ins, I mean, what are you doing? Are you putting on the Phantom of the Opera at the theater? Are you putting on Les Miserables? Are you putting on, what else hits the theater? Putting on Hamilton or whatever the heck? Like, why do you need more than 16? I mean, and this is like maybe a little ignorant because I only see things through the lens of my own, recording indie rock bands. Maybe you guys that do worship or you put on Les Miserables or Phantom of the Opera at the theater, you're like, 16? No way. I need 64. I can't produce without 64. I don't know. I just see things through the lens of recording indie rock music or, folk music or classic rock, So this is what does it for me. This is my fantasy audio interface. And again, and it's probably, the whole no ADAT, no Dante, that's probably wrong, kind of wrong-headed, because I think everybody is headed in that direction. Focusrite, Motu, Apogee, Universal Audio, everybody tends to give you that ADAT, which I know is complicated, can be complicated, or Cranbourne Audio, And I know that because I have a couple of videos about connecting Focusrite ADAT to other devices, and they're popular videos. They're probably my most popular videos because it ain't so simple, right? Maybe this Dante is simple. I've never done the Dante. I just read number 6, no internal interface. And again, going back, like this is my fantasy audio interface, not anybody else's. This is my fantasy audio interface. So it would be cool if some of you guys decided to make your own. There we go. So yeah, I tried to get Gemini here to draw it. I want to do a YouTube video called My Fantasy Audio Interface about creating a USB audio interface with 16 mic pre's, 8 line outs, USB-C, 2 headphone jacks. And Gemini's like, yeah, sure, here's the drawing with 16 mic pre, blah, 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 blah. And it never did draw it the way I want. And especially like I would not aesthetically, that is not at all how, if I were the manufacturer, I do not like the looks of this. This looks like SSL gear to me. I would make it so much simpler looking. See, it tries, right? Look, it tries. It even puts a bunch of nonsense lettering back there. Look, it does the plugs, the little IEC plugs. So it tries. But anyway, this is all just fantasy stuff. This is like, a little kid going, if I could design a dinosaur, what would the dinosaur look like, But, hey, well, I'd love to hear from you guys. Those are my 10 points. Let's fly through them real quick again. Number 1, it should be USB-C, which kind of ties into this number 7 so that it's compatible with Windows, Linux, Mac, Android, and iPhone. Number 2, I want it in a 19-inch rack. That's just me. I rack everything up. Maybe you guys want desktop boxes. I want a 19-inch rack thing. Number 3, I want 10 XLR mic pre's and 6 line ins for a total of 16 ins. 2 of them should have instrument high Z option. Number 4, I want those 8 line outs. Number 5, I want 2 headphone jacks. Number 6, no internal interface. And that really just means no extra crazy, stupid garbage. I'm a technical guy at work all day. I don't want to come home and know about a routing matrix. I'm trying to record music. Don't give me a routing matrix, okay? Just, it is what it is. I plug an SM57 in channel 1. It should come out in the DAW in Reaper or Pro Tools or whatever you're using as one. Like, don't routing matrix me, please. No, thank you. Number 7, goes back to the Windows, Linux, Mac, Android, and iPhone. Well, why wouldn't you make your interface compatible with everything in the year 2025? Like, come on, Apollo, Universal Audio, I'm talking to you. Number 8, when not connected to a computer, the preamps pass through, i.e. they can be used as preamps. That makes sure that this device, 100 years later, is still a preamp. It doesn't matter if we don't have USB in the future. It doesn't matter if all of our computers are actually a chip that's in your throat. You know what I mean? Like, that Focusrite stuff is 20 years from now, there's still going to be preamps. It can't it can't become incompatible. It won't be an audio interface because maybe, it supports, Windows 11. You're like, Windows 11, that was 50 years ago. Now we're on Windows 65. You know what I mean? Like, it doesn't matter. It's still a preamp. And number 9, for me, I know you guys are not going to, you're going to have your own preferences on this. But for me, number 9, the pre should have Neve or Trident, Daking, color, or possibly I would accept API. And I don't mean to, I'm not trying to gaslight anybody, but I say settle for API because it would be my last choice. And number 10, this is the price point I think it should come out at. I would be comfortable paying that, even at $2,000 Canadian. For my own fantasy, if this was my fantasy audio interface, somebody made this, say Focusrite made this or Motu, yeah, I'd pay $2,000. But I'll tell you, before I paid the $2,000, I'd be shopping. I'd be looking at other Apollos. I'd be looking at the Focusrite. Is it the Claret? I'd be looking at Cranbourne Audio. I'd be looking at SSL. Geez, I might even be looking at Apogee or, oh man, there's so many nice gear companies out there. There's this black one I'm thinking right now. I'll never remember its name. But obviously what's implied in all this too is that the ADDA, analog, digital analog conversion should be stellar, in this, which I think it is good. Even Behringer has good ADDA now, right? Like everyone's got AD. I think we've solved that problem 10 years ago, didn't we? But so anyway, yeah, this has been my fantasy future. My fantasy future audio interface, and I'd love to hear from you guys. Look at this one. This one comes close. That still looks very 90s, 80s to me. Google Gemini really here didn't nail it. Look at that big behemoth. Can you imagine? Here's your interface, sir. No way. Your interface is 12U? Yeah, I wish it could have drew a cooler picture. My ChatGPT is mad at me right now because I've used it too much for free today. When I get my ChatGPT back tomorrow, I'll run all this through there and see if it can draw me. I have an idea in my head, and it's very sleek. It's very mid 60s. It's very. You guys know what the Avengers is? That spy show, that British spy show from the 60s. I don't know. You'd have to look at that aesthetic. But just very, very sleek and minimalistic. And it'd be called the Quest for Gear Fantasy 16. If I were to somehow make this. Now, if you know anything about manufacturing, say I were to make this. Obviously, I'm not smart enough to make one by myself, but say I gathered the resources to make this. If you know anything about manufacturing, your first one's going to cost you $1 million, maybe more, right? That first one to come down the assembly line complete is going to cost you $1 million or $2 million maybe these days. And then after that, you start to mass produce them, and then you get into revisioning and, all that stuff. But I don't know. It's fun to dream. Like I said, this is like a little kid going, you know what my dinosaur would look like? Or, a little kid going, you know what my train would look like? Or my spaceship would look like? But I'd like to hear from you guys. Design me a dinosaur, design me a jet, but more importantly, design me an audio interface. What's your top 10, guys? Tell me I'm right, tell me I'm wrong, like and subscribe, and thanks for watching.